Hello and welcome. I'm Sage, and on behalf of our team at Back to Your Roots Herbs, I am so happy you decided to tune in today. We're going to be talking about something that affects millions of women, yet so often leaves them feeling confused, isolated, and, well, completely overwhelmed. We're talking about polycystic ovary syndrome, or PCOS. If you've been diagnosed, you know it can feel like a confusing whirlwind of symptoms. One person struggles with weight and acne, another with fertility and irregular cycles, and someone else might be dealing with hair thinning and mood swings. It's a spectrum, and today we're going to bring some clarity to the confusion. We'll explore the powerful, natural, and evidence-based strategies that can help you manage your symptoms and, really start to feel like yourself again. So let's start with the absolute foundation. What is PCOS really? Because it's so much more than just cysts on your ovaries. In fact, that name is a little misleading. Think of PCOS less as an ovary problem and more of a full body hormonal and metabolic condition. At its heart, it's usually driven by a combination of three core issues. I like to call them the core triad. The first one is insulin resistance. Now, you've probably heard this term, but what does it mean in real life? Imagine insulin is a key. Its job is to unlock your body's cells to let glucose, sugar from your food, inside to be used for energy. With insulin resistance, your cells' locks get a bit resty. They don't respond to the key as well. So, your body's solution, it just makes more keys. It floods your system with more and more insulin to try and force those doors open. This state of high insulin, called hyperinsulinemia, is a major driver of PCOS symptoms. This leads directly to the second part of the triad, high androgens. Androgens are often called male hormones, but women have them too, just in smaller amounts. That flood of extra insulin we just talked about, it tells the ovaries to produce more androgens, like testosterone. And it's this excess that leads to some of the most visible and distressing symptoms, like persistent acne, unwanted hair growth on the face and body, or even thinning hair on the scalp. And the third piece of this puzzle is chronic inflammation. This isn't like the swelling you get from an injury. It's a persistent, low-level activation of your immune system. It's like your body is in a constant state of low-grade alert. This inflammation can make insulin resistance even worse, and it can also signal the ovaries to produce more androgens. So you see, it's a vicious cycle. Insulin resistance drives up androgens, inflammation makes both worse, and they all feed into each other. Understanding this triad is so important because it shifts the focus. It shows us that to manage PCOS naturally, we need to address these root causes. We need to improve insulin sensitivity, balance our hormones, and calm down that inflammation.
So where do we start? The most powerful tools we have are the ones we use every single day. Let's talk about the foundational pillars, starting with diet.
And please hear me when I say this. Dietary changes for PCOS are not about punishment or deprivation. It is about nourishing your body in a way that helps it find balance. The goal isn't just weight loss, though that can be a positive side effect for some. The true goal is improving your metabolic health. One of the most effective approaches is a low glycemic diet. It sounds technical, but the concept is simple. It's about choosing carbohydrate sources that release sugar into your bloodstream slowly and steadily instead of all at once. Think of the difference between a bowl of oatmeal, which provides slow-release energy, versus a sugary cereal that gives you a huge spike and then a crash. Those big spikes demand a huge insulin response, which, as we know, is what we're trying to avoid. So this means embracing things like, non-starchy vegetables, legumes like beans and lentils, whole grains like quinoa and brown rice, and fruits like berries. It's about choosing whole, fiber-rich foods over refined and processed ones. Another amazing approach is focusing on an anti-inflammatory or Mediterranean-style diet. This directly tackles that third part of the triad, the inflammation. This way of eating is rich in foods that actively fight inflammation. We're talking about healthy fats from olive oil, avocados, and nuts. We're talking about omega-3 fatty acids from fatty fish like salmon and sardines. And loading up on a rainbow of colorful vegetables and fruits, which are packed with antioxidants. It also means reducing things that promote inflammation, like fried foods, processed meats, and excessive sugar.
You can see how these two approaches really overlap and complement each other, right? They both emphasize whole, unprocessed foods.
Now, let's talk about the second pillar, movement and exercise. Just like with diet, the goal here needs a reframe. It's not about burning calories to punish your body. It's about using movement as a therapeutic tool to regulate your hormones.
Different types of exercise actually have different benefits for PCOS. For tackling insulin resistance, vigorous aerobic exercise and high-intensity interval training, or HIIT, are incredible. This could be interval running, cycling, or circuit training. Those short bursts of effort make your muscles so much more sensitive to insulin, meaning your body doesn't have to produce as much.
Then there's resistance or strength training. This is key for managing androgens. Building lean muscle is one of the best things you can do for your metabolism. Muscle is like a sponge for glucose, and studies have consistently shown that resistance training can help lower those androgen levels that drive acne and hirsutism. And no, lifting weights will not make you bulky. In fact, it often helps to create a more balanced hormonal profile.
And we cannot forget the third type of movement, mind-body practices like yoga. This is our bridge to the next pillar, which is stress. Yoga is amazing because it helps lower levels of the stress hormone, cortisol. Chronically high cortisol can worsen insulin resistance and is a huge factor for many women with PCOS. A gentle yoga practice can help switch your nervous system from that fight or flight mode into a rest and digest state, which is profoundly healing.
Which brings us to stress and sleep. This is a non-negotiable pillar. When you're chronically stressed, your cortisol levels are high. When you're not sleeping well, your cortisol levels are high. This directly disrupts your blood sugar, promotes fat storage around the abdomen, and messes with your reproductive hormones. Prioritizing sleep hygiene, like having a consistent bedtime, a cool dark room, and avoiding screens before bed, is not an indulgence. For someone with PCOS, it is a critical part of management. Okay, so we have our foundations: a nourishing diet, balanced movement, and prioritizing rest. Now let's talk about some targeted support we can bring in. This is where specific nutraceuticals and herbs can act as powerful allies.
First up, let's talk about a true rock star for PCOS, inositol. Specifically, a combination of myo-inositol and D-chiroinositol. These are like vitamin-like compounds that act as second messengers for insulin. They help make sure the message from insulin gets heard loud and clear inside the cell. In PCOS, this messaging system is often faulty. Supplementing with inositols, especially in the body's natural 40-to-1 ratio, has been shown in so many studies to improve insulin sensitivity, lower androgens, and help restore regular menstrual cycles. It is one of the most well-researched natural supports for PCOS.
Next, a beautifully simple and gentle powerhouse, spearmint tea. Yes, really, just simple spearmint tea. It's important to distinguish it from peppermint, as spearmint has very specific anti-androgenic properties. Research has shown that drinking 2 cups a day can significantly reduce free and total testosterone levels. This makes it a fantastic, gentle support for helping with things like hirsutism and hormonal acne. It's accessible, it's affordable, and it's effective.
Let's also talk about omega-3 fatty acids. We mentioned them in the anti-inflammatory diet, but supplementing can provide a more therapeutic dose.
Think of omega-3s, like those found in a high-quality fish oil, as your body's internal firefighters. They directly combat that chronic, low-grade inflammation that drives so many PCOS symptoms. Another one that has gained a lot of attention for its effectiveness is berberine. Berberine is a potent plant alkaloid, and some have even called it nature's metformin because it works in a very similar way. It activates an enzyme called AMPK, which is a master regulator of your metabolism. It helps your body use glucose more efficiently and can significantly improve insulin resistance. It's a powerful tool, but because it's so effective at lowering blood sugar, it's best taken with meals. And it's always wise to work with a knowledgeable practitioner when using it.
And one more I want to mention is N-acetylcysteine, or NAC. This is an antioxidant that serves as a precursor to glutathione, often called the body's master antioxidant. Women with PCOS tend to have higher levels of oxidative stress, which damages cells and worsens metabolic issues. NAC helps to fight this oxidative stress, and studies have shown it can be just as effective as metformin for improving insulin sensitivity, and it's also been shown to improve ovulation and pregnancy rates, which is huge for those on a fertility journey.
And of course, we have to mention vitamin D. Deficiency is incredibly common in women with PCOS, and it's tightly linked to worse insulin resistance and mood disorders. Getting your levels checked and supplementing if needed is such a simple but impactful step. So you can see there are so many tools in the toolkit. It's about combining these strategies. It's the synergy of a nourishing diet, the right kind of movement, managing your stress, and then adding in targeted support from supplements and herbs that creates real, lasting change. This journey is not about finding a single magic bullet. It's about creating a holistic lifestyle that honors your body's needs. It's about taking small, consistent, and compassionate steps, day after day. It's about understanding the why behind your symptoms, so you can feel empowered to take effective action. Here at Back to Your Roots Herbs, we believe in the profound power of natural and integrative approaches to reclaim your well-being. To learn more, please visit us at backtoyourrootsherbs.com. The direct link for more information on natural PCOS solutions is in the description below.